It's one of those things where if you build it, they will come. So maybe I'll have to build a really cool snake habitat outdoors. I want to get another snake species that's interesting, that's active. I want to see them moving around.
Thank you to all our loyal Patreon members out there.
This week's shout out goes to Steven Stewart.
Oh, yes. This is what all the hard work paying off means.
Yeah.
Trevor here at St. Augustine Alligator Farm and Zoological Park. We're hanging out with one of the new babies of the indigo snake eggs that we saw months ago.
You did, yes.
This is so cool. So what's happening here, man?
All right, so yes, you can. So this here is Archon. We do give them names so we can identify them between one another. We actually had 2 hatchlings this year.
Get out of here, really?
So we had about 9 eggs that were produced. We had 2 successful hatchings. So Archon and Cooperi, or Cooper.
Oh, that is so cool, man. Guys, you remember this saga, right? This year, we were on a mission with indigo snakes. We, and by we, I mean myself and Matt, did a race, and we decided we were gonna raise money for indigo snake conservation here in Central Florida, and actually up in northern, the actual funds are going to help
yes, so the Orient species. Yeah, so helping the Orient Center for Indigo Snake Conservation, helping the Saving the Animals from Extinction program through the Association of Zoos and Aquariums. This money's gonna, the money that was raised is aiding in helping for disease testing. So when we introduce these animals back out into the wild, we know that we're introducing healthy individuals.
Very cool. We raised $3,000, just under $3,000 for that cause, and we even went to the Orient Society's headquarters there, or Indigo Snake Facility in Central Florida, which was in a beautiful part of the state. We learned quite a lot about that. So now, we were, you know, when we first came here and met Trevor this year, we were talking about eggs, because we were thinking that we were about to get some eggs, or, you know, we had just received, our core had just laid those eggs, you know, months of waiting and anticipation. This is the final product. And, you know, look at the smile on this dude's face. This is a species that's near and dear to his heart. You know, every keeper, whether you're out there at your house, myself at my home, we all have our favorite, you know, species. We have these animals that we just really gravitate towards, and it's so cool to see Trev get excited about indigo snakes. They're gorgeous. They are truly the king of the snake species here.
Emperor of the forest.
That's right, the emperor of the forest, man. Wherever they are found. It would be an amazing thing for me to actually find one of these snakes in the wild. And I think we've talked about that. When I was at the Orient Center, I actually spoke to a nice young biologist there.
Michelle, probably.
Michelle, yes. And Michelle was talking about, hey, maybe we can get you out there on some of our surveys when we go into the Panhandle, up into that area of Florida, which would be amazing, because not only will you see the emperor of the forest, but you'll see diamondback rattlesnakes, you'll see cottonmouths, you'll see in North Florida copperheads as well.
Gopher tortoises aplenty.
Yes. Well, in fact, these guys are symmetric. Is that the word? They live in their burrows.
Yeah, they have a symbiotic relationship. You know, they have a mutual relationship in which the tortoises dig the burrows, the indigo snakes will live in those burrows, and who knows, the indigo snake might find a nice tasty meal down there as
That's right, because there are also gopher, mouse, and all other species of rodents that are using those burrows. And in fact, we're actually in the gopher tortoise habitat here at the St. Augustine Alligator Farm. And well, I was told to watch out for my ankles, but actually I'm just teasing. The gopher tortoise hasn't come out. It's a little overcast today, but we thought it would be very apropos to be in here discussing the amazing hatching of this snake. Very well behaved young one, to be
fantastic. Yeah, this one's actually eating well. Awesome. So we have it on a feeding schedule. It's doing all the right things it should be doing in terms of growing up as a snake, as an ambassador.
What do you feed a small snake to get it started in indigo?
Yeah, so we still stick with the traditional pinky approach, right?
Okay.
So, you know, your frozen rodents are going to be what we feed out our animals. We also have mixed in some different types of ways to feed these animals. So blended up snake sheds and dip those pinkies in the snake shed, so the animal gets the flavor of what it might be eating out in the wild.
Some kind of scent, because remember, these are Ophiophagous, right?
Ophiophagous.
Yeah, they'll eat, which means they eat snakes.
Other snakes.
Ophia means snakes, and phagus, of course, consuming.
You know what I think? I think Kamp Kenan needs one.
Oh my gosh, I don't know. I believe there's a federal permit that is
There is a federal permit. They are protected under federal law because they fall under that Endangered Species Act. Doesn't mean you couldn't get one day.
Okay.
The animals that we're breeding here for our, the indigo snakes, excuse me, that we're breeding here actually will not be returned to the wild. All the animals that are bred at Orient Center in a fish hatchery in the center of the state, those will be the animals deemed for release. The animals that we breed are going to be ambassadors to their species. Cool. So he might end up at another zoo or aquarium, or maybe even in the private sector.
Ah, very interesting. I'll tell you what would you guys think? Because this is a species that I would like to work with because they're native to Florida. They're a large, impressive snake, and I could legally house this snake in a very nice sized outdoor enclosure that I would just go crazy building. So, I do know some people at the alligator farm. So maybe it's one of those things where if you build it, they will come. So maybe I'll have to impress the gator farm and build a really cool snake habitat outdoors, and maybe even get my friends at Aquascape and Universal Rocks to join me and make a really cool habitat. Because, you know, we were talking, Tom was busting my chops. We got rid of my Burmese python. We didn't get rid of her. We sent her to a place there up in South Carolina where there aren't as many restrictions, so that animal can spend 6 months of the year outdoors.
Where it should be.
Right. It would need to be outdoors.
Right,
I always feel
UV,
guilty.
yeah.
Right. Even though it's an albino, you want the animal to see sunlight. That's just the way I am. So I want to get another snake species that's interesting, that's active, that will utilize a larger enclosure. I don't enjoy keeping snakes in like small enclosures. I want to see them moving around. And I can do multiple species exhibit in that. So I can add some turtles to it. I could do things like that.
Box turtles would be a great housing.
So cool, yeah. So I don't know. I think this would be a species that I could one day work with.
This little individual one day will get up to that 6 foot, 7 foot range. So it will definitely need a large space once it has, or once it continues to grow.
Well, we'll see what happens,
I got
guys.
a question. So as someone who's a little ignorant about it, so they're federally protected. Are they not commonly kept by private keepers, or
there are some, but they get there are
few and far between.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
It's not something. It's not impossible. But it has to be done with a relationship with a zoological institution. The animal is then, there's probably a stud book, you're recorded. Any breedings would be recorded. The animals could not be offered up for sale. There's a lot of factors that
more
go
red tape, but you know, deservingly so, as this is a species that we want to ensure that thrives throughout our communities.
So it's a big deal to get them then.
It would be a honor to work with a species like this. You know, it's just the way it is. And hey, look, I've got some really cool species at my house already. I've had really good partnerships with zoos and different aquariums. I've got fly river turtles. We have the alligators. They're a federally protected species also. So, you know, it's just basically another word for a little bit more regulation. But if your heart's in the right place and you build something good and you're an educational ambassador, which I like to think we are.
People will see value in that.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe one day we can do that. So that's something that I'm looking into for sure.
But keeping them wise, it's like any snake, right? It's not hard to keep, right? It's not. Are they specialized?
Well, if you live in Florida,
with the right temperature and with the right conditions, you know, keeping these animals, you can have success doing so.
Yeah.
But it's, you know, ensuring that they have access to outdoor runs, ensuring that, you know, they have enough space to stretch out their 7 foot long bodies.
Right.
It's just ensuring that you meet up to those regulations, but it's definitely doable.
Gotcha.
Yeah, cool. Well, you know how we build things at Kamp Kenan, and Tom knows how we build things at Kamp Kenan too, because he's also our CFO. So he gets a little nervous when I get an idea.
We don't cheap out, apparently.
We don't cheap out. Not on the animals, that's for sure. Listen, Trevor, I'm so happy for you. Just seeing you like this, it really makes my day. It's always a pleasure to be here. Go ahead, take your baby, bud. And you guys look alike. You know, they say your pets take on the characteristics of their keepers. So there you go. So very cool, man.
Well, thanks for coming by and checking out Archon. I really appreciate you stopping by.
Congratulations, dude.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, guys, let us know in the comments below what you think of Archon, the baby indigo snake here, and say congratulations to Trevor for all his hard work. And we'll, of course, have more indigo snake action in the videos and to come in the years to come, because I ain't going nowhere, and hopefully neither are indigo snakes. Take care.
Awesome.